Meet sailing yacht Avanti and her crew, Gerard and Jacqueline. We left Cape Town in December 2021 on our floating home, heading west on an adventure of a lifetime around the world. We are almost ready to leave Labojan. My allergies are acting up. There's definitely spring or little flowers or something in the air. It's not going well with me, but I've got some tablets, so I'm all good. Gerard's lifting the anchor and we'll be going to Lombok. There's a little bit of wind for today, hopefully tomorrow, but then it's dead quiet, so we might need to motor a lot, but we're at the end of the season, so it's our own fault. But we should be in northern parts of Lombok in, I think it's 3 days at most, so that's pretty awesome.
We left Labuan Bajo at around 2 p.m. and we are off to Lombok. It's about 250 nautical miles. This time of season the wind is pretty light, so we're trying to get offshore. We're going north around the strip of Indonesian islands. On the southern side the swell is quite big at the moment. There's like 2 meters on the beam and not a lot of wind, so if you're going to motor, you'd rather motor on the northern side where there's almost no swell. The wind is supposed to fill in a little bit as soon as we like 30 or 40 miles offshore, so we're trying to get away from land, and hopefully tonight the wind will start filling in. The water is much cleaner here, and but yeah, we do see like with the currents here that flow through these islands, it brings the trash out, so we do see stretches of like a lot of floating plastic in the water, which is very sad. But yeah, the sea is very calm at the moment and there's no wind, so we're just motor sailing, and hopefully we get to Lombok in about 2.5 days. We just spotted some dolphins heading our way, and it's just before sunset, so they're probably coming to have a look. Let's see. Oh no, looks like they're turning away, but we'll see. It looks like there's like maybe 4. Oh no, there's some at the back as well. But the dolphins are weird here. They approach us and then as soon as they kind of see you, they move away.
They don't stay and play like when we're on crossings. I don't know if boats normally hurt them or steal their fish or something, but they don't interact normally.
Or maybe they're just used to a lot of boats and they don't really come and check them out. The sun has just came up on the second day of our passage to Lombok, and we at least stopped the motor I think round about 3:30 this morning. The wind picked up to about 11-12 knots. True, it's actually going up to 15 now. So we just pulled out the Genoa and we're doing about 4.5-5 knots boat speed. There's a little bit of a current against us, like 1/2 knot, but that was expected. So we hope this winds last and we can sail all day and not motor. You can still see the sunrise is quite red in the background, and so it's still from the Australian desert dust in the air that it's making the sunrise and sunset very red. It's the end of day 2 on our way to Lombok, and the wind has been much better than forecasted and expected. We've had like 14-15 knots down right from behind the whole day. So we've also put up the main, and we averaging like 6 the last few hours, and the wind's up to like 17 knots now. So at this pace we might actually make it before tomorrow sunset. So fingers crossed it holds through the night. We're about 30 miles outside of Lombok, so I can start seeing the high mountain peaks. There's I think the volcano peak is like more than 3,000 meters high. The wind has been light and it shifted more to the south early hours of the morning. So we've dropped the pole and we've got full sails up. So we're still doing about 6 knots speed over ground. Last night was quite crazy. I think we must have seen at least the lights of at least 50 fishing boats. The most we've seen in any night, so we had to dodge them, and luckily we didn't come close to one, but the most we've seen in any area or any region for that matter. So yeah, we should be there before sunset at least, in about 6 to 7 hours. And we haven't motored since leaving Labuan Bayou, so that's great.
We made it to main Dana Bay Marina, northern Lombok. The currents going from north to south down the Lombok Strait is quite extreme. So we've stopped here for a day or two just to figure out the currents and get a shower before we go back. What are you doing, Sarah?
Welcome. Please enter, have beer.
Lombok Island is quite large, and we find ourselves at the top left in Mandana Bay, but we'll make our way south and stay here for a couple of months. Today we're making Nasi Goreng, which is Indonesia's most popular dish and enjoyed on all the islands. It literally translates to fried rice. So we have old rice that's been in the fridge for a day. It needs to be a day old to get that real not stickiness, the not clumpiness, so that it fries nice and evenly. I need to make a mortar or like a paste with these ingredients. This chili is a sweet one. It tastes like red pepper. This one is the hot one. Now this is the bird's eye chili, so we're just gonna put a quarter of it into the paste. I've already chopped that up. Some garlic, some shallots, and then the red chili. And that's gonna be our paste. Normally the paste would also have a shrimp paste in as well, but we haven't gone to a supermarket yet where I can find it, and apparently it stinks really badly, so we're skipping that one. And with that being as close to paste as we're going to get it, we add some oil and start cooking. Once you smell the garlic and the aromas, we add our veggies. If you're doing chicken, you would have cooked that beforehand, but we're just doing a vegetarian option. So we have some carrots and cabbage and a green bean. That just cooked for a few minutes, and now we add our rice. 2 teaspoons of sweet soy sauce and 1 teaspoon of tomato sauce or tomato puree. Also add our bean sprouts. And then the last piece of the puzzle with the tomato and cucumber garnish is a fried egg on top. But sadly, ow, that's hot. Sadly, the fried eggs, or the eggs in general, the yolk sits really low. So when it breaks into the plates, it doesn't stay whole. So we're having scrambled eggs on top tonight.
Let's see if Jackie matches the local cooks. Very good. So these dishes are typically around anything between 40 and 60,000 IDR, which is really cheap, and it's a lot of food, and you see it everywhere. And yeah, but in terms of Madana Bay, we've walked around a little bit. We thought we would maybe stay a few days, but there's not much around here, so I think we'll move off tomorrow. We just left our first stop in Lombok, Madana Bay Marina. We heard it was quite basic, but it really is basic. There's a nice little restaurant and the mooring balls aren't bad. It's a little bit rolly and exposed, but we didn't plan a long stop. Bathrooms are not great, so we expected a hot shower, but it was a cold shower and not very substandard bathrooms. So we're off to our next stop at Gili Air. It's a small little island about 4 nautical miles away, and yeah, we're quite excited to stop there. We'll catch a mooring ball probably because the anchorages are not great.
Gili Air and its two sisters, Gili Meno and Gili T, are loved by tourists, even though they are small. Gili Air's perimeter only being 5 kilometers with a fringe reef around the island makes it a snorkeling and diving hotspot.
Today I'm tasting another version of the Bintang beers that you find here in Indonesia. This one is called a Bintang Crystal. It's supposed to be like a little bit of a lighter lager and with less bitterness. They say it's ideal for a midday drink or midday sipping. So this has got a 4.3% alcohol. You don't see them as much as you see the normal Bintangs. It's a 320 ml can, and in the supermarket these cost about 20,000 IDR, so really affordable. So as you can see, it's also very clear. Looks like the normal Bintang. It might have a little bit less of a head. So yeah, let's see how this crystal tastes. It's very similar to the normal Bintang. It is definitely less bitter. So I like a relatively bitter lager, especially a Pilsner. So in terms of cost and taste and size for this one, I would rate this one 6 out of 10. Cheers. We have a massive bait ball here around Avanti, and we've got like 5 or 6 trevellies that's hunting them, so they're jumping out of the water. I hope I can get it on camera.
There, do you see them? Next week we waste no time getting into the water and enjoy this barefoot island. If you enjoyed this week's video, please give it a thumbs up and leave us a comment or give us a share. Subscribing also goes a long way in helping us. Thank you to our Patreons for their support monthly. We appreciate it very much. See you next week.